There are so many things to talk about. So many things. I mean, you can talk about things like most people tend to choose a camp and what they believe in and be devout defenders of that camp and just attack anyone with a differing opinion. It can come to the idea of depression. There you have two camps. One saying depression isn't real, one is saying that it is, and they forget the nuances and they forget that they're both right. So the problem is kind of like people get very tunnel visioned. It's very easy to just stick with a camp and just follow whatever they say, or be a part of something. You don't really want to be a dissident. You don't really want to be an outsider. You don't really want to, regardless. Yeah. Anyways, so I wanted to talk a little bit about stuff. Now, I live in an authoritarian hellhole, which is sad. We're basically just following China's footsteps. But besides that, and besides the fact that I've been a very emotional guy throughout my entire life, and despite the fact that I've been melancholic throughout most of my life, or a large portion of my life, I am very prone to negative emotion. Very prone. Now, I can also feel euphoric, although that is extremely rare and usually only based around one thing. Pretty much only one thing. But anyways, okay. So, let's talk. I still go to the gym. And I've been told that I'm a pretty motivational force in a lot of people's lives, or some people's lives at least. That, holy crap, it's really impressive and it's really motivating to see someone who is so broken manage to go to the gym regularly, manage to keep up healthy structures, healthy habits. Like, because obviously you'd be like, well, if someone's just like, wow, I love going to the gym, it's so nice to be pumped up, like, it's so easy. It's like, that won't motivate someone who actually has a lot of shit to do and worry about, and a lot of things, because most people are stuck in the hamster wheel. I was out with the dog earlier, and when I looked at the leash and stuff, and because I make the decisions where we go and stuff, and well, it's not my dog, but yeah, I still try to do some effort, like make some effort, although not an excessive effort. But that's besides the point. The point is the leash. The point is the leash, okay? We're all, or most of us, are tied to a leash. If you have a job and you need to pay rent, you need to pay your bills, you are tied to that leash. You are a slave to the system, practically. Like, yeah, you can do the job better and have slightly more freedom, or maybe a few more days of freedom per year, or that you think is freedom, but it isn't really, because you're going back into the hamster wheel. And eventually they'll kill you off with your pension. Now, the problem is that if you think outside the box, you can be in, like, if it worked in the way it was first intended, or which I believe it was first intended, where it was, okay, you work, you get a reasonable pay for your time, and you can make wise investments, and you come out on top, and then you're free. That was kind of how I imagine it was supposed to be, if you're trying to think from a positive standpoint, or maybe it was meant to be this way all along. I mean, in some people's minds, it was definitely meant to be like this, because you see, the problem is when you have to rely on your job, and you have to rely on following the rules and following the social agreement, you can't really stand out. So if everyone is like, hey, you need to put stuff into your body against your own will, then you kind of have to agree or say nothing. You can't really go against, no matter how wrong it is of what people are doing, you can't really go against it, because they'll take your life away by taking your work away. Because take your job away, you survive for 2 months, 3 months. Maybe you've saved some money or whatever, or maybe you try to look for a new job. Who knows if you'll find it. But you are very reliant on the job. You're very reliant on this hamster wheel. I don't like that idea. I like the option to work. I don't like that you're forced to work. And instead of taking care of our families, you know, it's insane. Like we could literally be one of those societies where we're like, hey, we're gonna take care of our families. That way, less taxes are needed. Therefore, we save more money, and therefore, we also keep a community. Therefore, the prices of real estate are kept down a bit, because not everyone is trying to live by themselves. You know, it's kind of insane to try to live by yourself nowadays. Also, there's no point. An apartment. Do you know the word apartment? Apartment. It means you're apart. It's meant to be separating us from one another in a spiritual, emotional, and physical sense. Instead of, as it used to be, like a village. Yeah, you might have your own house, but you would have a big family, and people would eat dinner together, and maybe there would be like just very small cabins where they would sleep or something. You know, you'd have different places for different stuff. You would have some privacy, but you'd also have a community, a village. Now, I don't like the idea of big towns, but anyways, I wanted to talk about something else right now. I wanted to talk about helpful things, something that is helpful. Now, many might wonder how I go to the gym, and it's just I push myself. I don't enjoy it, but I just do it when I'm there, and I don't make goals for how much I'm gonna do or what I'm gonna do. I just do it. I just go there, and then I'm like, okay, today is probably a good idea to train chest, and then tomorrow it's like, okay, leg day or whatever. And that's the only thing I make my mind up about. And then I train that and I do these, and then I'm like, okay, I want to push myself more, or oh, I want to do this particular workout now, and I do that and I really push myself. And so I accomplish quite a lot despite having no real motivation, because I forge the motivation right at the spot. And it's not like, oh, my goal is this or my goal is that. It's just, oh, I want to do more. That's all. It's like, it's very helpful. Now, another great piece of advice is there's always a higher plane of existence that you can reach. You can always become a better human being. You can always become more moral. You can always achieve more willpower. Some people struggle to get out of the bed in the morning, but you can definitely just, like, it takes willpower to get out of bed in the morning. But if you do that, you can continuously increase your willpower. The people who are the strongest in terms of willpower that achieve the greatest feats, most of them didn't just start from, oh yeah, it was tough to get out of the bed in the morning and then I accomplished this heroic feat. No, you keep doing things that are harder and harder, and eventually they become easier. I used to have extreme social phobia. I went out with a cardboard sign that says, how are you? Do you want to talk about it? And eventually I got over my social phobia, or at least most of it. I used to struggle talking to girls. Now I have no problems talking to girls. I also have no interest talking to girls, pretty much. So it's like, okay, well, they don't really have anything to offer me, but I can go up and strike a conversation with a girl and be like, okay, hey, do you play any instruments or whatever? And then it's like, they tell me an interesting story, and I'm like, okay, well, have a nice day. See ya. Or not see ya. But that's besides the point. The point being, like, I try to be nice though, you know, I try to be polite, but when I'm not interested, it's like, okay, well, just have a nice day, you know, that's still polite. Anyways, that's one thing. So a higher plane of existence, you can always reach a higher plane of existence, is what I was saying. You can always try to view something from someone else's perspective. Now, when you're young, I can take an example, like a real world example. So when you're younger, maybe you're building with Lego, or maybe you're old and building with Lego, and then your parents or your other half comes in and just kind of has to clean it up because you've made a mess over the entire floor, and maybe you're gonna have a meeting later or something. And you could get mad, or you could understand, oh shit, it's needed to be clean. But maybe your Lego is slightly broken, the thing you were building, or maybe, but to be fair, you could have put it away, you could have done this better. You can always change how you respond. You can always be better. You can always learn from something and think, what could I have done better? And sometimes you can't have done anything better. But it's not very helpful to just be like, okay, what I've learned today is that this person is an asshole. You can also be like, okay, what could I have done better? Could I have done this or that better? And then eventually, if you couldn't have done anything better, that is extremely infuriating, because you're like, well, then all you have learned is this person is an asshole, the day has kind of been shit, and what am I supposed to do with this? All you have is a bunch of negativity. At that point, I'd advise you to go out into the woods, break some sticks, get rid of the excess anger in a healthy way, and then maybe just be in the woods for like half an hour. Meditate, breathe, and eventually you'll feel like, okay, whatever, it's fine. You'll tire yourself out and you'll get rid of the excess anger. Now, anyone can make a difference, and you can always become a better version of yourself. And don't forget what makes you valuable, But yeah, I am trying to be the best that I can be, and you can be too. Now, I still fuck up at times, and the problem with me is I'm a bit too whole a person. I say that while being broken AF, but what I mean by a whole person is I am one with all my different sides, pretty much. So I'm aware of how I function, I'm aware of what I like, and people's opinions don't really bother me. Real life threats bother me. I don't really care if people disagree. I mean, I can accept pretty much anyone as long as they're not a bad human being. I mean, you may have your vices, you may have your problems, you may have your issues, but as long as you're not a bad human being, I honestly will probably accept you. Like, especially if you're a decent human being, I will accept you. Even if you're really freaking strange. But I might also tell you, you're strange AF. A little bit of banter helps. It builds the, what is it called again? It builds the man, it builds the, whatever. You guys get what I mean. Character, it builds character. Anyways, thank you guys for listening, hearing me out, and watching. I'm gonna go buy some medicine now. I've already done my push-ups today. I did some planking as well, only 30 seconds though, but I did push-ups and planking. 25 push-ups, kind of slow, and planking, 30 seconds. I'll try to work out a little more. Kicks and hugs. See ya. Oh my god, you guys are so piney. I love it so much. Kisses and hugs.